There we are. We are live.
Hola.
It's always such an excitement to click that button and have things work correctly because, like, for a while they weren't, and that's always just makes me so happy when it's like, yay, you're live.
Right? It's nice. It's refreshing. But I think it's also so interesting. Like after this whole COVID chapter and everything, everyone got so used to technology.
Yeah.
And it just, it is what it is now. But it is really nice when it all works. Which is
See,
cool. Okay, go ahead.
there are different streaming things that work differently. Like, you use Zoom a lot, specifically for your guys' live stuff. Don't you guys use Zoom? Do you have any issues with that, or like no? Because
Rarely.
we do. Like, I always have. Hi, Sophia. Hi, Heather. I always have troubles with Zoom. It doesn't connect well here for some reason.
Well,
So
that's
that's
okay.
always. I was like, it's always neat to see how other people do certain things. I'd still like to learn how to do Zoom Live just because I think it's easy sometimes. So
I like it. I enjoy it. It's been working really well for us. We use backup things. And I also just like kind of, for me, meet clients where they're at a lot. A lot of people still like Facebook Messenger. A lot of people I don't use Skype at all anymore, really. And Google has been getting Google Meetings or Meets have been getting, oh, I said that and my phone lit up. Creepy. I have to turn that off.
turn
I,
off
I
Google
have
Spy.
Google Chrome. Yep. Oh, it's doing it again. That's too funny. So anyway, what's up, guys? Hi, Sophia. Hi,
I
Heather.
love Sophia. Do you see her comment? Guys, it's been a shit week. So good to be here. It's Monday.
Yo, everyone, I have not been off the phone today. I mean, I worked all day and then before work and after work, everyone's been telling me what a shit couple of days they've been having. And even this morning, I woke up and I was like, oh man, I shared Louise on Facebook. I was like, I got to do my Louise Hay this morning because it feels heavy. And I did it and I posted it and I was like, interesting. And then at work all day, one thing after another. All my friends and soul family that I talk to have a lot of things where they're feeling heavy or sad or just spent or living situations falling through or arguments going on with people who are near and dear to them. There's just a lot happening.
So maybe my week's worth of flaring was more so because of something else. Who knows? Because like that is exactly, you said heavy, and I was like, I need to start making a better, like, I feel like I need to do more soul searching into what the energy is around when I'm feeling that heavy, because I don't generally flare really bad, but it did help me figure some things out. Like last night, I did a deep dive into EDS, and I was like, look, we got to take this shit under control. Excuse my French, y'all, but I have got to figure this out because I think that's kind of like what is a little bit more of the issue with. I almost don't think I have psoriatic arthritis. I just don't think I have it, and I feel like I'm taking medication for it when I don't need it, and I don't like that. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but I don't like to take medication, period. So taking something that has a black box warning on it is a little bit like up here for me, especially if I just feel it in my soul that it's not right for my body and it's not going to help the issue. And on top of that, Mandee, you and I have both talked about how like we love to be adventurous, we love to ski, we love to do these things in life, and I can't do that anymore because my body just won't allow it. And I've had so many tendon surgeries and connective surgeries and stuff like that. I have been diagnosed with EDS.
Will
And
you
I
share
know
with us what EDS is?
it is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and it's I call it bendy bone syndrome. I know your bones don't bend, but it affects your soft tissues, your connective tissues, and stuff like that, and it breaks them down. So muscles, ligaments, tendons. And I've already had so many tendon surgeries. I'm like, I feel like I've been hyperextending since I was 6. I've been doing all of these things, and so I can't exercise without hurting myself. I am currently, you know, we've talked about it in the past, but I'm still have a diagnosed rotator cuff injury that hasn't been fixed yet because I'm scared to get it fixed, because if a doctor doesn't know what to do, I'm going to be in the same problem. I had that other shoulder surgery and they're telling me that that one was messed up, so now I have to have that tendon like released. And so there's all these weird things coming in. And so last night I just did a deep dive into diet and exercise and what we should be doing and all these other things, because I want to like get back in the program. You
I
know, I
want
want to
to add
lift
some
weights.
resources for you and for
I
all
was
of our
like,
people.
yes, I was like, I want to get back into weightlifting because I love to weightlift. It just lit me up. But that's just not what is that's not what they say you should do for EDS. They're like, no, you need to like do more yoga. You need to stick to Pilates. You need to do other things to kind of help your body. And then, you know, you should be on the food map. I can't food map. What, I don't remember what it's called, but you should be following that, which I already kind of do. But at
What's
the
it
same
called?
time,
Bob Fat Food Fat? What?
I will send it to you. It's actually like breaking down your food and going back to the basics. So it's literally
Okay.
like taking all these things out of your diet and then adding them back to your diet to see what your triggers are and to see what your body, because everybody, you know, some people can have acids, some people can't have acids, you know, so there's all sorts of different things that each chemical makeup in everybody's body is different. And so it's like getting back to the basics of food and then building back on that to see where your triggers lie and how it affects, you know, the inflammation in your system. And if you have IBS, it's also recommended for people with like IBS, stomach gut issues. I have stomach gut issues, which I was also diagnosed with Crohn's, but I don't think I have it. I feel like it's Ehlers-Danlos because that all goes hand in hand. And so there's also all these other diagnoses that I found out last night, or these other things that can happen because of EDS that I've also experienced. Like I've had to see a cardiologist, I've had to do all these things, and it all goes hand in hand more so with EDS than it does anything that I've been diagnosed with. So I did like a 4.5, 5 hour deep dive last night, and I'm like scribbling things down, and I'm like, we're doing this. And I told Ben today, I was like, this is what we're doing. This is the flipping plan. So we are on a roll now, babe, and you are going to have your wife back soon because she is sick and tired of being sick and tired. So that is where I am today. And it kind of goes hands in hand with all you guys saying, this is a shitty week and it's only Monday. So y'all are feeling heavy and sick too. And I'm sorry you're feeling that way. Hi, Kate. Hi, Kevin. Sophia, Heather, Jennifer. We have all of the lovelies with us today.
So many people are talking about wanting to cleanse and balance and reset. And I had really bad IBS for like 10 years. I healed it in 10 days with celery juice from the medical medium. Have had crazy fibromyalgia, and I literally have had cadaver tendons replaced in my body, and so many of these things, gout, really bad gout attacks, joint damage. I had HPV strain 16 at one point. I had all of these like growths going on in my nasal and like in my nasal passages and like whatnot that were supposed to get removed. And I was able to heal so much of that and my body by doing the medical medium. And it happened in 2017, and just everything that could go wrong was going wrong. And I was literally dying. It was not good. I listened to Louise Hay every single night for like 8 fucking months. And I did the medical medium. Then after I did that for about a year, I added in Joe Dispenza, Becoming Supernatural, and that helped change everything. There's so many cool things that we can do. And like, I just thank you so much for sharing like what you're going through, what you've been through. Oh, and I tore my arm, my rotator cuff all up because I got hung up in a lift at Vail because I slipped on this like fancy new lift out there basically. And I ended up getting caught up in a chairlift and like hanging for a long time. And it tore up my shoulder really bad. And I was supposed to have surgery on that. And it was also my bartending shoulder too at the same time. Like it was not good. And so I ended up healing that from eating from the Joe Dispenza, from eating healthy foods, from the Joe Dispenza, and yoga, doing yoga with Adrian. My yoga
I have yoga. I have yoga with Adrian like saved to my stuff. I just haven't done it because it hurts. And I'm like, okay, I don't know the proper way to work out. That's like literally the issue, because every time I work out, I break myself somehow. And then so I'm frustrated. I'm like, I don't want to break myself again. So they're like, yeah, do yoga, do the chair yoga. Like to begin with, if you've got weak stuff going on up in the upper body, like do little circles, you know, the figure eights, do those things. And it really kind of touched on me. I wasn't laughing at you, I promise. When you were talking about the medical medium, my guides were like, that's what I was laughing at. They literally came in, they were like, I have every medical medium book and the celery juice diet from the medical medium in my closet currently. I completely forgot I have them.
This one's the OG. If you have thyroid issues, I've been trying to give this to Jen forever, but the thyroid one, artichokes right there in the middle of it. This helps with insomnia, Graves, Hashimoto's, Epstein-Barr, hypo and hyperthyroidism, thyroid nodules, all kinds of shit. Liver rescue, this one helped change a lot for me. Also, high blood pressure medicine. I was on high blood pressure medicine too. And I was on round the clock painkillers, muscle relaxers, steroids, all kinds of shit. And I was able to go off all of those just because I started changing the way I eat and what I thought. And then there's this one I love too, Life Changing Foods, which is all about the different foods that can help you to heal even like cancer and infertility and memory loss and migraines and Lyme disease and all kinds of shit. So we just, I'm a big fan of it. I know Crystal's going to take her dive soon. Because Crystal, you've been through a lot in your journey, and especially with food. And like now that you've like, do you feel like you've healed like quite a bit, and now you're ready to like really try different foods and stuff, and like enjoy this journey maybe? Because you've been through a lot with your bod and reactions and things.
So I actually started in 2015. I went plant-based. That was my first, and I was plant-based for 2 years. I stuck to it really, really well, and I gained 65 pounds on plants. So it wasn't right for my body. It actually kind of made me more sick.
Crystal's freezing. Hopefully she comes back in like a second. But yeah, going plant-based can be a radical change, and it's definitely something that I lost weight for a little bit. You came back. There you are. Yes, you were saying you gained it, and I was saying, yeah, it has different effects on different people, and like,
yeah,
and I know I went for like 8 months, and then I wanted to start eating some meat again, and now I'm like primarily plant-based. But there's
that's kind of where I'm at now. Like, I need to stop eating the sugar. I really need to take sugar out of my diet. That right there is my hard fall. Right there is the sugar. And so it's one of those things that I've kind of been on the journey already for so long, and I've really learned what my body likes and what my body like. I knew I had a gluten intolerance before I had them test me for a gluten intolerance, just because of the deep dive I did with food already. So I've already kind of been on that journey, and I think that like trying to find the ways that actually, it's really laziness. I'm learning Crystal's very lazy and taking care of her health and like making sure that she has the foods available and the things that she needs for her life. But I actually enjoy eating healthier because it already makes me feel better. It's frustrating when you know what you're eating and you know what you're taking in and you're still having issues. So I feel like, and I can post that. I can actually look back on that, and if anybody's interested in it, I can post what the thing is that I was talking about to kind of start the system. And I think I need to do that because I think there's obviously still things that are sliding in there somewhere that just aren't working for me. Sugar's the devil for my system. I just know it is. I've already found that out a long time ago. It's just I don't give it up very easily. That Coke, man, it gets me, and I love it. I don't love the way it makes me feel, but I love the Coke when it's going down. And Kate, you asked if we are doing readings. Yes, at any time. If you have questions, you can ask those questions. We always do. Miss Sophia, you said, Crystal, your post hit me right where it needed to. I made a very lengthy post about a very raw moment between Ben and I while I was like, okay, I have to take accountability for this nonsense right here because I am doing a lot of healing. And I am, I've been taking accountability for a while, but I was telling him, I was like, it's really frustrating because I feel like, and Mandee, you please tell me if you've experienced this, like being so accountable. It's almost like you're hyper vigilant on your actions, your words, like how you feel, how you're presenting yourself, and it gets a little exhausting sometimes. And so we had this really deep conversation, and essentially I was like, my guides were like, look, girl, you gotta give yourself some peace, and you have to give yourself some love during this, because you have 42 years worth of boxes that are all stacked up inside of this brain of yours, and 42 years of trauma within those boxes. And so you got to take each box down. You have to go through all the papers. You got to look at everything. You got to see where it came from. And it's going to take you a long time to get to each one of those boxes. Like, you're doing the work. You're getting a box a day. Like, yay, congratulations. But you got this shit in there. Like, you have to wait. So what he did right here, which was, Ben didn't do anything wrong. Please, like I said, I like to say that. Like, Ben actually did nothing wrong. My interpretation of what Ben did was wrong because I had been triggered by somebody else in the past, and I knew exactly what triggered me. Like, that's the hypervigilant states. I knew exactly what it was. I knew why I was triggered, and I knew it wasn't his fault. And I was being hard on myself because, like, I lost my shit with my husband, and I shouldn't have lost my shit with my husband. So I was apologizing to him and saying, like, I lost my crap with you. This was not a you problem. This was a me problem. And this is what stemmed that. And trying to take accountability for that, but catch yourself before, you react to that trauma. And then all of a sudden it's like this vicious circle, because then you're mad at yourself again. And so it's just like one of these situations. And so I made this post about that. And I'm grateful, Sophia, that it helped, or that you felt it, because before I used to share very raw, intimate moments of my life and my healing journey. And I stopped doing that now for about 3.5 years, because I don't even know where I'm coming from some days. But when I do try to talk about it, because I feel like if I'm going through it, I know other people are. So I try. And I thank you very much for reading it and taking the time to say that to me, because it's a little bit daunting sometimes. And I like it. Should I share this? Should I not share it? So thank you.
So for all you, of course, and all my Ascension clients, I call that like the gauntlet, because what you're doing is you're stepping out into your higher self a lot, and you're observing yourself, and you're starting to see and catch your reactions in the moment and shift them into responses or other things. And it can be really overwhelming. And we have to honor our human when that happens. And this is where true grace comes in, and true self-love and true forgiveness, and like starting over, because this is an opportunity to drop right back into our normal cycles of guilt, shame, criticism, and fear, when really we have an opportunity to dance with our higher self and release that burden from ourselves. But it's hard, and it really is a challenge, and it's fiery and crazy. And that's why I call it the gauntlet. But you're really there doing the work, and that's what it's all about.
See, that just, I cannot wait to get a hold of Ursula and be like, okay, Ursula, I have money. Let's give me the reading. Let's do the reading, Ursula, because I believe Crystal's got some shit to fix, and I would like to know where this journey is taking me, because I know I've already worked on things. I know that I'm doing very well. I know all of those things, but we're impatient a little bit, and I want it to be done, but I'm still alive, and I think I need to get it through my thick skull that if I'm alive, I'm learning. And so they're probably not going to shut that shit off for me anytime soon. So
every moment of every day, there's another opportunity. We're the only ones in our own heads and our own minds and our own souls. We're the only ones who can see the 1111s, feel the chills, know that moment of, no, I was just a jerk and I need to apologize. All those things are all about our ascension, our growth, becoming a more conscious human, and creating this beautiful new world that we're all ushering in.
And on that note, I'm going to come back to Miss Kate. She said, I hoped for a general reading, and I think that's supposed to say if possible. So we'll let Mandee pull a card for Kate. Sorry.
Poor Kate.
Big Red. I don't like Big Red, Sophia. Sophia says she's into Big Red right now. And I love you, Sophia. I can't do Big Red because it leaves like this weird taste in my mouth after I'm done. Like, it's kind of like the fruit by the foot stuff that we used to have, or the zebra gum, or whatever the crap it was, where the flavor was gone in like 2 seconds. That's how Big Red is for me.
Kate, it looks like Kate's going through a lot of growth right now. Kate got transformation. We've pulled 3 cards for you, Kate. Transformation. Things are changing at a cellular level. Deep healing. You might be having some physical, emotional, spiritual, any kind of pain right now, some angst, some irritability. They're showing major growth happening and changes happening for you. Some of them you're doing yourself. Some of them are happening, and you just have to learn how you're going to respond to it. And what they're showing is that they want you to know this is happening for you. Something you can do is call on. This is for anybody too. You can call on your angels to help you, especially at night, like Archangel Raphael. Please surround me in green light and protect me and heal me and help me to transform into what it is my higher self is calling me forward into at this time. Then you've got the Star Mother. How can you mother yourself at this time? I'm really seeing a lot of rest, sleep. I'm seeing, I don't know if there's a lot of people calling you. I'm seeing the phone being an issue, or texting, or wanting your attention kind of thing, like lines going on. And sometimes it's really hard for you to say, like, no, I can't do that right now, or I'm too busy, or let me get back to you, that sort of thing. And it's just about taking some intentional time for yourself is a big part of mothering yourself at this time, as well as just like we all talk about, we're all basically houseplants and that whole thing, and we need our water and our sunlight and our rest and all that good stuff. Last but not least, this is all happening for you. Your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. The reward of going through all the growing pains right now and needing to mother yourself and allowing the transformation to happen is you're getting more and more on point intuitively. You're building higher relationship with yourself, with your higher self, with your guides, your angels, everything. And they want you to know you can really trust. You can trust some things right now and trust what your intuition is calling you in to say. So I hope that helps. And I think Kate also said she had to jump off early. So I hope that sends you off with good wishes. And maybe when you go to bed tonight, invite Archangel Raphael to give you some love and blessings too.
Sophia says, "Ooh, I got the chills when you started talking about the gauntlet, Mandee." So
Girl, we all been there. It happens in here.
And Ursula is here. Ursula, you just missed me talking about you. It's like you popped in right afterwards when I was like, I'm about to call you and be like, okay, Ursula, let's do this reading right quick because Crystal needs some guidance apparently. So Layla Greenlight, says, I would love a reading. They're free. And then she said, I would love to know where I think that's supposed to be where you intuitionally think I'm at on my journey.
Where you intuit I'm at on my journey.
Yep. And any stored trauma that would be helpful, as I have Reiki soon and more info can help me mentally locate it.
Heard. Well, Layla, happy to pull you a few cards. Glad you're here tonight. Is it Layla? Oh no, it is Layla. Yeah.
Yes.
So the interesting thing about that, the cool thing about Reiki is when a Reiki practitioner is practicing Reiki on you, whether you're doing it on yourself, client, friend, family member, whatever it is, Reiki is pure, divine, amazing light that comes through, and it just simply comes through the channeler. The channeler moves somewhere with the light, and the channeler is the practitioner, the one bringing in that Reiki light and healing, and sometimes with touch or different places or symbols or around your body. And what happens is that divine light goes exactly where it needs to go to transmute things that you have no idea. One time I was doing Reiki on someone who had brain cancer, and I was like, ego me, part of me showed up thinking like, oh, they're probably going to send like a lot of light to, his brain like right now. But I just did my thing and I did all kinds of stuff. And there was one point where I was like over his knee and it was kind of hot, but I didn't think much of it. And when he came back to, he told me he had this amazing experience where he had gotten his knee blown out a lot during sports and like skiing or different stuff, and he had all these injuries, and he was like envisioning like all of these like angels like healing it and sewing it and doing really cool things to it, and I had no idea. And so what happens is when you show up for that journey, and for everybody else who goes to a Reiki session, just breathe, be, and ask your angels to allow that divine light to come and be exactly where it needs to be in your vessel at that time. And it is important for us to take a look at, where our traumas and dramas are stored and where they come from and all that good stuff. And what happens is that what you need to know will be revealed. Things will come up as you need to know it. So don't put too much pressure on yourself with that either, for everybody, because we all want to know. We all want to be amazing self-healers and get to the bottom of it. But there's divine timing too. So I'm just going to pull you a few cards, Layla.
And after you're done, I have stuff too.
So you got the Great Gathering. It's all coming together, intuitive hits and soul tribe. They're showing a lot of things in your journey right now, and where you're at is you really are gathering in with like-minded people and souls and teachers, and even just like books and different things that are feeding you, that are helping you. They're showing that you also have grown so much. Like, you're really aware of so many things, and you put a lot of pressure on yourself at times, and you're exactly where you need to be on your journey, which is like a beautiful place right now of evolution and growing, some growing pains, but it's okay. They're also showing with that, you're getting like some nudges for some serious courage. You get the Priestess card. How are you being called to step up and lead? They're showing you can literally do this, not only within yourself and in your own life and taking charge of how you want to show up for things, but also you're meant to help lead and gather others in beautiful ways. And you've had that come in lifetime after lifetime. I'm seeing something with writing coming in strong for you too. So maybe take some time to journal or allow some channeled messages to come through. Then last but not least, you got the star seed. Like, what lights you up? What brings you joy? The things that light us up are the things that spark a tiny bit of joy in us, whether that's lighting a candle or going for a walk or to the beach or buying yourself flowers or cooking a nice dinner or going traveling or spending time with friends or music. There's so many possibilities. It's really important to focus on that right now. As you continue to focus on the things that light you up, what you'll realize is you'll be able to start to mentally locate the things that are blocking you from following the things that light you up. And then that's where you get to dive nice and deep. And I hope that this supports you. Your angels just want you to know, like, you are good right now, and everything's going to come through in the way it needs to, in the way it should, and keep showing up for yourself, because they're proud of you for that. And you're on the journey. You're on it.
So I've got stuff too. Terry, yes, I'm fine. That's what happens when I do a quick body scan. I was writing. I was letting angels talk, and I was writing at the same time, because she was talking about where blockages may exist, and that's kind of what they do. That I do a quick body scan. It's not Reiki necessarily, but it is a quick body scan. So what they're giving to me is a big X with your root, and that doesn't mean that it's shut down. That doesn't mean that you're not grounded. It means you're having a hard time balancing your energy lately, and you're having a hard time grounding, because they're making me feel like your cords aren't fully descending down into the ground. They're giving you lots of love, but they're also giving me trust. They're hopping right on into that heart chakra. And they are making me feel like there have been some things that have happened in your life, my dear, that have caused the trust to kind of be shut down between you and spirit. And so when you call spirit in, things may interfere with what they're giving to you. Life happens. And so sometimes that makes it look like spirit isn't necessarily there for us the way that we want spirit to be there for us. And then we start to think, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I misinterpreted it incorrectly. And then we start to lack trust in ourselves and even in the divine energy that kind of comes in. And so they're really wanting you to kind of open up and talk to them a little bit more. You think a lot of things internally, and they're making me feel like your thought processes are like firing constantly, but they're really not making me feel like you're like easy with actually communicating out loud and actually communicating to them and thanking them for stepping into your life and being there for specific areas. So they're asking you to intervene with that process a little bit more, because yes, you've given them a lot of information. You've laid it all out on the table. They know it, they think it, they hear it. They've got all those things coming in from you, but speak it out loud. They're really making me feel like that throat chakra is a little bit clogged. Okay. And that's probably from a lot of things. You're a high empath. You really, really are, because they're really giving to me a whole lot within the gut system, specifically in your solar plexus, which is working really well, but it's overworking a little bit, which means that you had a tendency to take in a lot of information and a lot of energy around you. And so they are talking a little bit about your gut health and adding in specifically, now I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I can't diagnose or treat, and this is not medicine, but tea. They're making me feel like teas would be really good for you, specifically chamomile. I don't know why, because I don't know what different teas do. I don't even know what different herbs do. But they're also giving to me specifically dandelion. And they're making me feel like that's actually going to help with the gut system and some of the gut issues that we have going on, because it's going to help actually take and detox some of those things within the gut system specifically. And I don't think it works specifically with the liver and kidneys, because they're making me feel like you do need some of that on top of it. But they're almost making me feel like you've got a lot of toxins kind of stuck into like the actual intestinal tract from start to finish. And so as you're decluttering yourself and you're getting through and you're moving through some of those mental, emotional triggers that you've been working on for quite some time, by the way, good job. You're not necessarily detoxing the inside part of the body, and you haven't invited a lot of things into the internal part of the body. So they're asking you to invite some other things into the internal process to help move things a little bit quicker. Okay. And with that being said, they're making sure that you surround a lot more, because I don't necessarily feel like they give it to me in two different ways. We can either be the oak tree when we ground. The oak tree has got super strong roots and a very thick trunk, and it's got these amazing, big, beautiful branches that stem off the top of it. And in any windstorm, they kind of move, but they don't move that much. Or we can be grounded like the pine tree that just goes poink, 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 and kind of goes with everything. We want to be that oak tree. So even though you're grounding, it's almost like you're not really receiving the grounding. And so I'm not exactly sure if you're also adding in your bubble of protection around yourself, but they're really making me feel like they really want you to ground, surround, and shield yourself from incoming toxins as well from other people. You have a lot of people in your life that I don't think that they're trying to be crazy. I don't think they're trying to be toxic. I don't think they're trying to be any of those things, but they are making me feel like there's a lot of things kind of coming off from other people and other situations around you that as an empath, we just kind of absorb sometimes, because we don't know how to be the battery instead of the sponge. I hate that. I hate that. I know every person on here has heard that as an empath, you're a sponge. No, you're effing not. No, you're not.
You
And I
have a
can tell you all
choice.
the reasons you are not. I will explain that someday to you. But they are really making me feel like you need to cleanse yourself and allow yourself to be the open vessel to receive from the crown through the body out. That's what we're supposed to do. We are supposed to take the energy, receive it, and then move it through. That's what we're supposed to do. Okay. We aren't supposed to let it sit. We're not supposed to let it sift. It ain't ours to keep hold of. So get that shit out of you. Okay. Other than that, they're really making me feel like you need to give yourself a pat on the back because you've taken a lot of steps in the right direction and they just love you for everything you're doing. Okay. I'm giving you lots of love on your journey. Sorry that was so long.
I love that. And all the teas. Teas are super. You'll learn in the medical medium. I have a huge herbal tea garden. Like, teas are amazing for so many things. And like many of the ancients and many civilizations, and you'll see to this day, like animals, if they're sick or hurt, they don't eat, they don't get chicken soup. They like fast for a while. And when they start to feel better and their body starts to heal itself after fasting, they drink water again. And then they go light. And it's just so interesting, like the things we're conditioned to do that actually don't help our bodies to heal a lot. And teas, herbal teas, are one of those things that just having like a cup of dandelion tea can change your chemistry and can like really clean out your liver and so many things each and every day. Thyme tea is so incredibly powerful. Oregano tea is one of the best antimicrobial, antiviral, antibiotic type teas out there. Like, there's just so much to look into. And like, it smells so good. Like, I just cut some lemon balm yesterday and threw it in some hot water, and it was like, the aromatherapy was insane, and it helps bring you back into the moment. Avocados are also super good. I just saw Layla commented something about avocados, and should be avocados and fast food. Very unbalanced. Yeah, everybody's been through that this summer. Even I have been having a really hard time, and I've been doing iced coffees again and stuff, which I usually don't do. And I'm like, all right, got to cut it out. I'm literally drinking, as you were talking about the root chakra, I'm drinking a juice with apple, carrot, beet, banana, and orange in it. It's nice and red. I'm calling that in. And so, all we can do is our best. And when avocados are coming in, particularly for women, it heals a lot of your womb space. And perhaps that's where some blockages are. The womb space is not only where we store our fear, and we create and give birth to life, no doubt, but we store our fear and our pain there. And it gets really caught up in between our root and our sacral all the time with heavy energies. And if you're craving avocados, it's probably helping you to cleanse that out and heal that out and remove some of those blockages intuitively. And it's all good. And enjoy the fast food days too.
Going down, making sure. Okay, I'm going back up now. I can't eat avocados. My body does not like them. So that would be great if I could. I wish I could. There's other things that work with the womb space and the mother stuff. I will stick with those. Terry, Dennison, Crystal, and Mandee, I really would like to know what my guides are saying for me. I'm feeling a little down and have the last couple of weeks. Mandee, could I please have a card?
Of course. For Terry. What does Terry need to know most tonight? Oh, they're calling you out. Shit. So, yes, you've been down. You've been having a hard time, but you also pulled the Shield Maiden as your first card. These obstacles and challenges are happening for you to inspire you a little bit, to kind of get your inner fire going a little. And this card also pairs with it to make plans and to focus on what it is you're calling in. So maybe really get clear, perhaps journal a little bit and say, all right, what's been like bringing me down and why? And I'm sure it's all very valid. It's always very valid. But at the same time, if and when you're ready and it feels right, you can pull yourself out a little bit. And they're just showing that it's time for you to allow that to happen. Then you got the animal guardian. Trust your instincts. A lot of this stuff that's coming up is because your intuition's been on point. There might have been some trauma and some drama, some different things that, are getting you down at this time. They're showing your connection to the animal world is huge. It's important to spend time with the animals in your life, as well as keep your eye out because you have some that have been coming into you or around you, like giving you messages. I'm actually seeing a lot of squirrels running around near you and stuff. Maybe look that animal totem up. And then last but not least, you got the she-wolf. Unleash the wild woman. You've got to release whatever this energy is going on with you, being stifled and held down, because she wants to howl and get out. And I always tell people, So many people hold in their emotions. They're, they get angry or sad and like they hold it in and they keep going with their day and they forget a little bit to let all that out. And sometimes we literally just need a 3-minute cry, or we need to go throw some rocks off a cliff or scream in a pillow or whatever it is. But they're showing you also it's important for you to get creative and have some fun and get out a little bit if you can, and do something that's really going to help you to like honor your inner wild woman, because all of your intuition's coming up so much right now for you. And they're just sending you so much love, and they're sorry you've been down, and they're just showing that peace is coming your way, that you're on that roller coaster. Now you get to like coast on back down, and the hard stuff's going to move out. There's always going to be bumps in the roads. There's always going to be, healing of the grief behind you or the things that are happening, but you're ready to release a lot of it. So allow yourself to. Crystal, you have anything to share?
I'm gonna sort of add to that, but not necessarily. I'm just gonna drop a little bit of spice in from a reading that I had last week with somebody who is going through a lot of us right now are on a healing journey. Like healing is like super big right now for a lot of us, especially people who are realizing their gifts, or maybe just wanting to fine tune them a little bit, understand them a little bit. And there's also like this ascension's taking place, With the ascension, there are things that are also shifting and taking place. And I'm not going to make this a battle of good and evil, conspiracy theory, none of that nonsense. But through a medium, somebody who sees through spirit's perspective and understands energy in the way that she understands energy, I do understand where the guides were coming from in this. And they stated a lot of people right now who are really working hard on that growth and really working hard on that healing and really trying to fine tune what it is that they're receiving and sitting with that. They're finding a lot of things popping up into their life, a lot of people, situations, conversations, finger pointing, ugliness kind of taking place around them. And why is that?
Drama lately with so many people in groups and things, like straight up drama, like call it what it is.
It is
been wild.
Bullshit is what it is. And so what it is you are coming into contact with people who see you growing. They're seeing you. Okay, they might not see you growing on like a conscious level, but subconsciously their brain knows they aren't doing that. They know they aren't doing the work. And so it's aggravating them that you are. And so what you're receiving is negative energy towards you and who you are, because they know they aren't going to do the same thing. They're lazy and they don't want to put in the work. And so they're going to try to stifle you in your work and your growth, because that's not what they don't want you to succeed, because they're not succeeding. And so you have to understand a lot of what we're receiving really has absolutely zero to do with us. Stay in your lane, keep focusing on you. And if you have ugly people, situations constantly taking place, just like take it as a compliment at this point, because if that's happening, then that means you're kind of a badass in this spiritual growth nonsense stuff that we're experiencing. And it means you're doing the work, and other things are seeing that you are, and it's trying to put a timeout on how much work you're doing. And so if we can kind of flip the way that we see that coin a little bit and understand it differently, and just kind of look at them and be like, yeah, I know why you're pissed. And just call it what it is and walk away and just let it be. It's actually going to help us understand. And it's going to also be a little bit of validation on those days. Instead of getting mad, just use it as validation. Be like, thanks, guys. Thanks, guys, because in that moment, you just showed me that I am putting in the work. I am doing the steps. And I thank you for acknowledging that for me. So we have to understand how spirit works around us. They give us things in every aspect of life in some of the weirdest ways that we don't always see that that's a message to us. We're like, why is this happening to us? Well, it's happening for some reason. And sometimes we just need to receive it in that way. And so I loved that the guides gave this to this person, because it also hit home with me and some of the nonsense that I've been dealing with. And it sounds like you guys are dealing with it too. So take it as a compliment the next time somebody looks at you, blames you for something, calls you out, says you're this, tells you you're a narcissist. That's me, by the way. I'm the narcissist. All these things in life.
Everyone's a narcissist now. It's a fact.
Every time I piss somebody off by using my voice, I'm a narcissist. It's hilarious to me how much I am this mental illness monster. But at the same time, use it as a compliment, because you're growing and you're receiving and you're looking at life a little bit differently. And they apparently don't have the ability to do so themselves. So they're just pissed that you're doing the work that they won't. Heather, my dear, says, so my husband, Gary, is watching with us tonight. Hi, Gary. Thank you for watching with us. That's a big step, by the way. Most husbands don't. He has.
You love your wife.
We do love your wife. She's amazing. And I'm grateful she's here too. He has been seeing spirit at home and work a lot. Any suggestions on how he can deal with the anxiety with that. So Mandee, I'm going to maybe see if you want to pull him a card and see what maybe his people have to say, just to kind of hit it home, because I feel like he's a little skeptical. They're doing this to me, which...
Oh, Crystal's freezing. I hope you guys are still with me. Gary, definitely. First, the angels are coming in quickly. They want you to know you're protected and it's going to be okay. Like, it's kind of weird when all that happens, but I jumped on in, and then I'm pulling a card right now.
Perfect.
The shaman, trust in higher forces. So this is happening for you. It's scary, it's weird, it's freaky, and it can create anxiety. There's a lot of things that we can do when anxiety happens. It's because something's like out of alignment, or there's some fear going on around us. And fear is just an opportunity. The way we alchemize fear and heal it is, one of my teachers once taught me, is to become curious about it and check it out. So what happens is, it's like it shows up, right? And it scares you and it startles you the first time, and then it shows up again, and then it happens again, and we become a little desensitized to this whole situation. They're showing, I'm seeing really like benevolent energies. There's nothing to be afraid of or anything like that. But they're very interested in you because you are an old, wise soul. You've had many lifetimes on this planet, maybe some other ones too. You really do connect with nature. They are showing like they're like legit feathers all over this, but they are showing a lot of birds and things that, like, I don't know if like you enjoy watching birds, or you spend time like connecting with that, or out camping, or being in the woods and like hunting and you see things, but you've done that many, many lifetimes. And they're showing this is just an opportunity to trust and to get a little deeper in yourself right now, and to see what's out there, because you've been communicating your whole life, and I don't know who you call it that you talk to or whatnot. If it's, and they're showing ancestors and maybe like some grandfather, father type energy, stuff like that. And then I'm also seeing like God coming in and some other energies, and they're showing that you really communed with spirit your whole life in a lot of ways. And that conversation's really coming back at this time even more. And like the spirits and the things that are happening, it's just there because you're a safe place for them. And also, like, if you want to be curious about it, you can. At the same time, too, you can always shut it down and say, I'm really not into that, and I don't want you, to be messing with my space anymore. But I really think that this is happening because, well, they're showing me this is an invitation for you to jump more into yourself, into your inner shaman. Shamans are people who help other people through seeing that the end is really a beginning, whether that's death, whether that's a relationship, whether that's a job, whether that's a phase of life. It's helping people to transition with things. And they're showing you've always been like a good person to talk to, and like people will come to you and like help you, or ask you to help them along their journey. So you've always had a little bit of this inner shaman, and more of it are coming. And they're saying when it comes to the things in your house and the spirits, to go ahead and trust in those higher forces right now.
So it was funny, before my internet so rudely cut out on me, they were doing this to me, which means skepticism, and it means you're a little on the skeptical side. You're very thought-based. Like we always have that thought-based process inside of us, and they're making me feel like you try to think things through. Like I'm not sure what Mandee had stated, but they are making me feel as though some of these things might be causing fear, more so because your brain is telling you they shouldn't exist. And so it's just kind of like this dealing with reality versus reality, the way we think reality should be, and that's what's kind of igniting that fear. And I always tell people, I don't care who you are. I still get startled by spirit. I see spirit all the time, but when they run up on my car, and like I literally see somebody running up on my car like freaking out, because that's a residual energy of something that took place. I go back and I'm like, whoa, was that like a me thing, or was that because it seems very real to me? And so I don't care who you are. It's going to startle you when you see something. And also spirit gives off vibes. And if you're a shaman, that means that you're connecting with very earth energies. You're connecting with earth energies. Yes, you have guides, you have higher helper beings, just like everybody else. But how they give themselves to you is through a more primal experience, which means it's going to trigger that fight or fright, or, oh Lord, fight or flight in us a little bit more also. And most of the time people shut it down, and that's why they run away from what it is that they're receiving instead of sitting in it. And as a medium, the medium that I am specifically, I try to teach people how to sit in that feeling and actually stand your ground. Because if you take a deep breath, all you have to do is stop and be like, okay, like literally, if you have to be like, whoa, okay, like I see it in your head, you don't have to talk out loud because I think that'll make you feel nuts. You don't have to do that. You can do it in your head. They hear you there too. They're like, okay, hold up a second, take your deep breath in, release. If it still feels funky, take a deep breath in, release. Sit with yourself. Ask yourself, does this feel like it's like impending doom? Am I going to die? Okay. If that's not the feeling and the vibe that you're receiving, then there's really no reason to be scared. And the reason I say that is because spirit experiences an array of emotions and things prior to passing. And so if we're dealing with something a little bit more earthbound or earth energy, we will feel those fears. We will feel that trauma. We will feel what they thought prior. That it's all fear based, by the way, fear and pain based. We will think those things and feel those things prior to actually receiving it, because that's what they hit us with first, because they don't know the rules of how to give it to us any other way. And so they have to connect like that. They only have so much time to connect. And so they're going to utilize whatever they can in that moment to give you that punch to the gut to help you see, feel, and experience them, so you know that they're there. And then they're probably going to disappear because they don't have an energy behind that to keep that going and actually communicate to you. So you're probably experiencing that cutthroat energy in the beginning, and then all of a sudden it probably just dissipates and goes away. You're seeing a lot of shadow play. A lot of shadow play, specifically out of the corner of your eyes. And just because shadows are shadows doesn't mean that they're negative. I know nobody wants to believe that nowadays, but that's just not how it is. Light spirit angels, they can come to us in shadow form too. First off, it's based on how much energy they have to present themselves, and it's also based on how much energy we give to the situation and opening up. If we're not open to receiving spirit, we're going to see more shadows, because that's what our brain is allowing us to see. And so there's just so many things behind what this is, and 99% of it should not cause fear. And so just sit with it. Be like, ask yourself, why is it coming to me? Is it trying to ask me something? Is it trying to tell me something? If it's not something you want, then tell it to go away. Heather, reach out to me. I'll tell you how to cleanse the house the way that I do it, and then you can look it up, do it the way that you want to do it. You guys can make it a thing for yourselves. I would almost make it a thing for yourselves, just because it sounds like we have two very empowered people in the same residence, which means there's going to be more spirit called in. So keep that in mind, and make sure that you cleanse your space and clear it of anything that you don't want it to. And if you're not ready, tell spirit, I don't want this. This is weird and I don't like it. So I would like for you to not do that to me, because it's weird. So I appreciate that, to stop. And they will slow it down, but I don't think they'll stop altogether, because your guides are making me feel like, yeah, that ain't happening. I think a lot's happened to you too over the past couple of years, and I think you yourself are opening up a little bit more. So I'll just put it that way. Spirit is my jam, by the way. Thanks for asking a spirit question. I enjoy that. Sophia says, I've been getting a lot of visions, but they are flashes. This is so Mandee. I have been getting a lot of visions, but they are flashes, and it seems like a parallel timeline. I've been having that happen too. Any advice on sharpening those up so I can lengthen it, pause it, and remember them, Miss Mandee? This is a you thing, all because this like goes hand in hand with all those parallels, timelines, all that healing, and all those things that come into our lives as a whole. So this is such a you thing.
Yeah, honestly, my best advice when this comes in, and this happens a lot when we're on our path, and it can be a little confusing and strange, and we'll have visions of this lifetime, past lifetimes, different things going on. And really, like, it is mostly parallel. Like, time only exists linearly the way it does here, and like our weird 3D construct that we created. What happens, excuse me, as we start to become more conscious and walk our path. And ultimately, I think the best thing that you can do, and for everyone, to sharpen up or lengthen it or pause it or remember it, is to not try to control it one bit. And what happens is the best thing that we can do is create more and more peace within ourselves, more and more inner peace, more and more love, more and more presence. Because then what happens is when that moment happens and you're walking through that timeline or that shift is going on, you are completely mesmerized. You are completely in the moment. And you remember everything. What do we remember the most when we're younger? All of the favorite things of like where we went and how it smelled and all of that stuff. Why? Because we were present. We weren't being self-conscious. We weren't worrying about all the other little things and the stress and like all that stuff. We were able to just be and like be ourselves. And the more we heal from all of our traumas and dramas and step into more peace, all of a sudden we're present. And then what happens is you can really take that snapshot. You can remember, oh, wow, because you felt it, it was real, it was happening for you in that time. And there's almost nothing we can do. We can't stop it at the same time. It's constantly revolving and changing and shifting. So the best thing that you can do is work on your own inner peace, keep doing your thing so that when it happens, you're just there for it. You can't grab a camera.
I've been doing my parallel weirdness has been actually other people, but it's like other people. It's almost like remote viewing. I'll just say it like that. It's like remote viewing a situation through somebody else's eyes that's taking place, if that makes sense. And it's just been weird because I haven't experienced that in a while. I'm like, oh, okay, so that's weird. I just sit with it. It's given to me for a reason, if not anything more than just to open me back up. Carrie says, my solo trek to the Upper Peninsula was beyond my wildest dreams. Bliss just wanted to share. I'm so happy for you, Carrie. I'm so happy for you, Carrie. You deserve that.
I'm pulling a card for Carrie real quick just because we love you. Trust your path. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? Oh, while you're all lit up and you're all blissful and you're riding those waves, take some time to really trust your path. And that's a great question to meditate on for you, especially Carrie, but for anybody too. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? See what comes up.
That's a good one. Tiffany Denham, I think I said that right, Denham. How do you know your position in your spiritual life?
I think that's an interesting question.
It is a great question.
First of all, your spiritual life exists with you before you even come here. It's lifetime after lifetime. It's the part of you that is your soul, your essence, who you are. Everywhere you're at this time is perfect. And we talk about the journey of ascension because it really does feel in a way like you're going up or you're ascending, you're evolving in some way or another. But we all have these different amazing timelines and star charts and different things that we're working on at different times. You might be working on forgiveness in your life and how to forgive yourself and others. And your bestie might be working on jealousy and envy or things like that. Like a lot of times it's these really bigger things or self-worth and things. And these are the things that help us to ascend. Because what happens is, as we start to heal from everybody has their own experiences of traumas and dramas and all kinds of things. Trauma's caused just from being left alone with hurt and nobody responding to it or being around you, whether that's physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, and not knowing what to do with it and not having like that support there with you. So the way that we know where we're at, it's so funny because like the more like wise I guess I become or enlightened, the more I'm like, yo, I'm like an infant. I know nothing. And I feel like the more you gain knowledge and awareness, the more you realize just how infinite it is. And so where we're at on our path is totally perfect for where we're at right now. And it's a level of consciousness. It's where we can really test it. Truth bomb is how we respond and react to things. If we are starting to step out of just reacting to stuff, whether that's fear. I used to be afraid somebody was going to stab me in the shower all the time. And like somebody came in the bathroom, I'd just jump or scream or snuck up on me. Like I had severe PTSD for years and years and years. And like, I had to gain trust with that. I had to start to release that fear. Now anything can happen. There could be a bomb off behind me and I'd be like, should I call 911? Like, how do we handle this? Because everything that happens, that's part of that shaman thing too. You start stepping into, instead of just reacting to something, you can say, oh, there's a fire over there. How do I want to respond? Instead of, oh my God, fire, let me run away. Let me heighten up my, and sometimes like that just happens as a natural reaction. But the cool thing about your spiritual journey is you get to learn how to manage all of those feelings and emotions, and you get to turn your reactions into responses. And so that's always a good place to kind of gauge where you're at and how the work's coming, as well as, there's certain things healing our bodies. There's amazing things that we can heal. And there's amazing things that we can do to help ourselves enjoy life longer. But just like everybody, we're all dealt different cards. We all have different injuries and illnesses and predispositions and traumas and things that are impacting us on this journey. But if we're aware of it and we're like, you know what? Okay, I have this, this, and this. And you know what? So I have gout. And I know that if I go off of my celery juice and I go off of a lot of my plant-based shit and I start eating more like seafood and meat and dairy, alcohol, forget it, I get really flared up. And I know that I need to just set that aside. and I need to gauge myself back in. And so when you can do that and you're more aware of that, you have more of a, like, you're further along on your path of it. And so it just depends, and it's different for everyone, and where you're at is completely perfect. Because even once you get to that, nothing's ever completely healed or done or any of that. And then Tiffany, I pulled a card for you too. It says, take a break, a life's work, not a season. Get off the treadmill. So don't even worry about putting any pressure on yourself about this right now. You're exactly where you need to be. And you just get present and literally bathe in the moonlight. Let yourself be. And what'll happen is your path will keep revealing itself to you more and more. And trust me, the more you know, the less you know, is how it ends up happening. And it's all one big fun game after a while.
I'm going to add to that only in a little bit of a different way, because you did such a perfect job on Journey, and I don't know what she's talking about, because like as a whole, or is she talking about, am I a psychic, am I a medium, or am I blah blah blah, and it all plays into the same thing. Like, you just need to know you're what you are today. But I tell people to taste test it. I have done all of the things. I'm sure Mandee has done all of the things. And I believe that some of us are, you'll know where you find your purpose in that moment, which goes hand in hand with what she just said, because you have to be okay. Like right now, I have been through, I have called myself Crystal Kirshen, psychic medium, when I was married before. I have realized I hate being called psychic because I don't know shit about the future. Like, I'm not that girl. If I knew the future and I could figure out lotto numbers, I would be channeling from Fiji right now. I would not be here in Modesto, California. So there's a lot of things about this. I don't like using psychic energies, not because I see psychics as bad necessarily, but because I myself don't feel comfortable with that bubble. I feel comfortable up here with spirit, and so I like spirit to come in. And then you have to feel what that is. If you're giving psychic readings, then feel it, see it. What does it feel like to you? Does it feel good to you? Does it give you good vibes? Do tarot, test it out. Get some oracle cards, test it out. Mandee uses a pendulum, test it out. See how you feel in all of those areas. If you want to fine tune your mediumship abilities, well, that's a little bit harder. I am going to say there's a little bit harder in trying to actually hear and receive the messages the way they come in. A lot of people who call themselves mediums are actually more psychic than they are mediums. Like, they're able to read energy. They're not necessarily able to read spirit. There is a difference between those two things. And so fine tune it. The more you fine tune, the more you grow, the more you'll receive. It'll come through clearer, it'll come through whatever. And that's where we start to open up those pathways a little bit better. And so fine tune it. I actually like to teach spirit more than I like to channel spirit. That doesn't make any sense, I know. But it is how I feel. I like to teach better than I like to channel, because to me, there's just more energy behind it. Put me in the creepiest location possible, and you will see Crystal light up like a damn freaking firecracker, because that's what I love. I love to be challenged by energy. I love to sit with that fear. I love to break through another level, and in those moments I'm able to do that. So you got to kind of fine tune where you are in those things and feel where you feel the most peace, and then it will probably change, because it's changed for me. I'm sure it's changed for Mandee. I know it's changed for many other gifted people. Just as we start to get comfortable with those gifts, they're like, let's turn that crap off and turn on something else. And then we're like, what the hell is this?
It's a good point, because they're all just tools and extensions of you and your own intuition. And I love pulling cards and I love all that stuff, but it's all things that are coming through anyway. And what happens is you find out what kind of, if you want to be a healer or practitioner of some sort, by healing yourself. And what happens is you find all the tools that worked for you and ways you were able to connect. And then that's how you carry it forward. The healing happens as you allow it to happen through you. So showing up, being honest, being real with it. You'll realize, to this day, every time I hold space with clients, there's always something for me to learn. There's always wisdom that comes in just from that exchange. It's so cool that I would never even in my wildest dreams think about. And they'll be like random things. Like I'll be like, oh, there's this weird like worm on my tomatoes. I wonder where that came from or how. And then all of a sudden I'll be holding space to the client, and at the end, like she'll be like, oh, I got to go work in my garden because I got these horned, worms on my tomatoes, and I got to do this, and that. And my grandmother taught me how to spray lemon on it, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, that's exactly what I needed to know. Like, thank you, So like just weird shit. And it's magical. But it always comes down to yourself and holding the space with yourself. And if you ever want to hold some soul space, Tiffany, I'd love to hold some soul space with you. Everyone who's made it this far, At the end of every single show, I give out a 50% off coupon to all of my services on seagoddesshealingarts.com. You just have to type in Mandee Live, and I'll repeat that again at the end.
So, do you have a couple more minutes?
A couple more minutes.
Okay. Because I know you're busy. Mandee is busy. She works jobs. She's got the Sea Goddess Healing Arts. They've got all the things happening. It's end of summer, so Mandee is actually a busy lady. Andrea asks if there's anything her guides want to give her today. She could use a message.
For Andrea. Awakening, energetic upgrades, new ways of being, integration. They want you to know that there's some strange things going on, but it's happening for you. I'm particularly seeing a lot of dreams right now for you. And not only nighttime dreams, but daydreams, sudden visions coming in, finding yourself like thinking about a lot of things or holding space with yourself. And it's beautiful and wonderful. Arama, where are you being called to journey to at this time? Part of this integration and this new way of being is following where you want to go and where your soul is calling you forward to at this time. What's it wanting you to do? And it's saying that not only is it important to tune in with it, but it's important to give it permission and allow it to happen. In order to do that, last but not least, you get the crumbling. What are you clinging on to? A lot of times when we're afraid and we're not releasing, or holding on to things too tight, a lot of times we are stopping ourselves from like right on the other side. Like in this card in particular, there's beautiful gardens and mountains and amazing things happening. But in order to get there, we have to let go. And it's kind of like when you envision like holding onto a rope and like it's burning your hand and you're hanging on, when if you would just kind of let go, then it won't hurt you anymore. Or it's kind of like a tug of war kind of game type thing. So it's really important right now to know that the things that are falling away that you're kind of clinging on to, they're happening for you in order to create space for your soul so that you can trust your intuition, so that you can enjoy all of these upgrades that are happening. And like these dreams and visions and daydreams that are coming in, they want you to follow them a little. And if you feel called, journal it down maybe, or write about it a little bit and see what comes through. You're very held right now, and just know that it's safe to release it this time too.
I love that. So we see your guys' comments. You're all wonderful people. And Gary is a little skeptical, but that is slowly fading, she says. But I'm going to try to get to the people who are asking questions and asking for readings. Dee says, hi, Mandee and Crystal. Up until I was 8 years old, I lived in an apartment and had strange things going on, and the activity used to mess with me. That said, were they spirits or just my imagination? Thank you. So I'm going to say this is one of those that's a perfect timing to talk about children versus adults and why children receive and adults don't. Children, when we're born, we're closer to spirit. I usually tell parents, because everybody, like most children, I got to tell you, see spirit at some point in time. And people always ask me, is my child this? Is my child this? I'm like, just kind of embrace it. Don't make them think they're crazy. Hear them, listen to them, make sure that, you do the things, especially if there's creepy stuff. We'll teach you how to guard and protect and do all those fun things. To empower those children at 6 years old, because there are ways to do that in such a phenomenal way, and teach them to protect their space. But if it's still a thing by 11 years old, then your child has gifts. And most people, if they're supposed to continue this on, like if it's an actual contracted thing, it will last. Like they will still hear, see, receive, and experience. It might kind of fade a little bit or go up and down on a roller coaster ride because they're going through traumas and dramas as teenagers, because hormones and kids and all the other things happening in their life. But 9 times out of 10, they still see and receive things all the way up. But if a child is more analytical based, engineer based, more in their head, and they start to veer away from stuff like that, and they stop like looking at that thing with an open set of perspective, because society, and I'm not trying to knock society, but we do tend to get kids out of their dream state a little bit and knock that out. Don't be a dreamer, don't do this and don't do this. And it kind of tends to take that away, because we start to think this isn't necessarily normal. And so if it lasts past that time, I usually tell people it's a contracted gift thing. Then they will continue to see and experience that way, and it'll just get bigger and better. You probably were experiencing spirit. Some of that might have been a little bit more manifested or grown on because of your fears and that moment from the things you were experiencing. And so you may have kind of added to it a little bit in the mind. I know I did as a child because there were weird things and my fear just made them a lot worse. But at the same time, I believe that you probably were receiving some things. I think some things. I don't necessarily know if all the things that you were experiencing, because they're almost like splitting it in half for me, which usually means to me half was spirit, half was not. And I almost want to say that some of the things that you experienced were more in dream form. And they're making me feel like some of that dream form was probably happening from either past life experiences or something along those lines that you brought into this childhood. And so it probably felt very real to you, and you probably questioned if you were awake when it was taking place. And they were making me feel like you were actually dreaming some of these things and bringing in some things from the past. And so I hope that that makes any help. Mandee, do you have anything to add to that?
Same, just that.
Yes. I love you.
Yes, they were showing, yes, you were certainly connected to spirit, and there were some really like freaky things that happened. They were kind of trying to connect with you, but also scared you. Some of it you shut down. There were some fears going on, some dreams, things like that. But definitely, yes, and more of that to come in the future. If you want to let it back in, you can always say, angels, I'm ready to receive again. I'm interested in seeing. So, but hard yes.
And Miss Glenda says, my daughter saw a guy in a gray shirt walk down my back steps the other night as we drove up the driveway. It wasn't anybody. We were all inside. So it doesn't surprise me. I feel like her whole family is a gifted bunch. They could have their own series, like the Brady Bunch, but they're the gifted bunch because all of them experience things. I don't know. Glenda, I don't think that's out of the ordinary.
I love it.
Hi, Nick from the UK. Thank you for tuning in and saying hello to us. Hi, ladies. I hope you're all well. I think that might be it for. Are their voices changing? Oh, apparently our voices are doing some funny things, and it could be because of my internet connection that has decided that it wanted to go in and out today. So, Dee said's very interesting. Thank you guys so very much. And she does want to let that back in. So do what Mandee said. Talk to your people. Thank them for allowing you to see, receive, and experience, and ask them to do it a little slowly so it doesn't overwhelm you. Okay? Because I think you are a visual person. They're making me feel like you're a seer. And so if you're more of a visual person, that's going to startle you a little bit more sometimes when you see spirit in physical form instead of like feeling them first or feeling it out first. So yeah, do what Mandee said. They'll open it up for you. Mandee,
just little by little each night, just say, thank you, angels, for surrounding me in white and blue light and protecting me. I'm ready to receive spirit again. And you can do it controlled, just like a journal, or only during the day, or put whatever kind of, intentions around it that you want, and it'll help a lot. So sending you a lot of love for that. And thank you to everyone who joined tonight. Dee, Sophia, Tiffany, Cassandra, I know Jen and Glenda and Kevin and Jay, and so many people hopped on, and I'm so grateful. Heather and Gary, thank you. You are so welcome. Thank you for being brave enough and holding some soul space with us. Hi, Tammy. Crystal, how can people get a hold of you?
You can get a hold of me through my website at Mitten Medium, or you can just find me on YouTube at Spirit Speaks with Mitten Medium. And I am going to put in a plug for both of us. That is also Sea Goddess Healing Arts. Please like and subscribe to us and comment on the stuff that we post. And also get onto Sea Goddess Healing Arts and find Ursula. She has an amazing thing called Becoming Chiron. And it is a really, really, really good YouTube. She is so informative on a lot of things. Just get on the website and look at each individual person and read about Ursula, and then get on and also like and subscribe to her, because I know it would really help her out as well. And she is so informative, guys. Like, she's got a lot of information too. So thank you so very much, Mandee. How do people get a hold of you?
Again, SeaGoddessHealingArts.com. Please like, share, subscribe, follow us. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Sea Goddess Healing Arts. That's SEA, Sea Goddess Healing. And we have a farmer's market coming up on Tuesday. If you're in the Atlantic City area, Jen, she's one of our amazing sea goddesses. She was on here tonight. Got incredible donations. So we're going to be able to give out a lot of produce this week. We've got more events coming up soon, and we have a big festival called The Last Splash, September 17th. It's a fundraiser for the Marine Mammal Training Center and the Absecon Lighthouse. We're looking for sponsors, volunteers, vendors, anybody who wants to come and be a part of that day. We're hoping to make it an annual event and help it be a fun end of the summer party where we get to raise ocean awareness and support the Lighthouse and the Training Center, because they're both really important organizations in our community. Thank you all for jumping on. Again, if you would like a session with me, if you made it to the end of a live, Mandee Live is my code, and that'll give you 50% off of any of my services. Thank you all so much again for being with being here with us, being here with yourselves, and we're wishing you a really great week after it's been some rough energies.
Also, gonna say right before we go, I hope you guys have a better week. I hope your energy raises. I hope you break all that off. And before we go, today is 8/22. It prompted me to look up 8/22 in the little number book, and I think this might deal well with after hearing everything. I was like, something tells me that I should read this again. So I'm gonna read it really quick. 8/22, accept prosperity. Prosperity can come in many forms, so please keep that in mind. You deserve it. The abundance coming your way cannot arrive unless you feel worthy of it. Clear pathways today in your energy so as to accept these gifts. Sweep off negative energy on you. Then thoroughly wash your hands when you're done. So you sweep off that negative energy that has been stagnant on you for quite some time. You get that crap off. You do a good house cleansing, dance, vibe yourself up a little bit, shake out that energy, do what Miss Mandee's doing right now, and wash your hands after you're done clearing that space so you can start to receive that prosperity of what is starting to come into your lives. I hope you guys have a great and wonderful week. Mandee, I love you to death. Thank you so much. This was a fun one. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.